Hello, good evening and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers midweek fix show after Liverpool v Ajax with the kicking off of the Champions League. I'm joined tonight by all the J's. I'm joined by Gav, Grizz and Gar. Lads, how are we tonight?
Flying. Adrian's Ultras.
The Ultras, the ADRIAN Ultras, that's it.
Pumped up, blood's pumping through my veins like it should be. I'd be worried if it wasn't, to be honest with you. But yeah, that last 10, 15, 20 minutes really got me hyped up, pumped up. Really enjoyed that. I'm not going to lie. Proper purist to me.
Yeah, you are a football man at heart, as we all know. But lads, it was a great start to our Champions League campaign. A lot of people might be looking at that and thinking it was a scrappy 1-0 win. Brian Kerr on commentary on Irish TV for one was saying Liverpool will be delighted to get out of there with a win. Of course we would. What else would we be in it for? But it was a good win. I think the first half was a bit sloppy, but I felt second half Liverpool got into it. Gav, what did you make of the game and how it panned out?
Do you know something? I predicted a 2-2 last night, and I thought after the first 15 I was going to be wrong. And the only reason I was going to be wrong, it was going to be more goals than that, because Ajax pressed us really high. They broke the ball up very, very well. Helped a lot by Curtis Jones and James Milner, to be perfectly honest. You had Gomez looking a bit hesitant. Adrian was doing Adrian things. And having said that, when Liverpool actually got the ball back, they just opened up Ajax time and time again, even in the first half, you know, especially down their left-hand side. I thought Robertson and Mane were brilliant at getting at Ajax, and it could have been any score in the first half. Now, the stats may show, well, there's only X amount on target, but the amount of opens and half opens, and if the pass was just that little bit better, fellas were through on goal all over the place. But I'm sure we'll discuss it as we go on in more detail. But overall, delighted with the win. I think that'll settle a lot of players. Just because of the circumstance over the last couple of weeks, I think that'll settle a lot of players. And it's 3 points, and it puts the group to bed, because it's us in Atalanta.
Yeah, I'm going to come to Gar next. Gomez was a player who, as Gav said, he started off a little bit dodgy, and we know he's had a few issues confidence-wise coming into the last few weeks, the last few games. But he grew into the game, and him and Fabinho, they formed a solid base at the back, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, I was a bit worried at the start, but you know, he's having to get used to what's behind him, to be fair. And then another new centre half partner. Let's be honest, it's not easy. Different lads playing beside your centre half. But no, we did settle. In fairness, Brian Kerr made reference to him stepping up and marking his man quite well in the second half as well, and staying on him. So no, we did settle, to be fair. And I think we're all a bit nervy about him at the moment. And you know he can produce a bad performance or a slip of concentration every now and then. So, no, to be fair, he did grow into a key. I totally agree with you there. But I suppose another thing I noticed about was when Henderson came on, there was a bit more instruction. You could hear it through the commentary as well, that Henderson was sort of putting him into shape, and, you know, it probably helped him as well to have a bit of leadership in there. I thought the performance in the first half lacked that sort of leadership. Milner seemed quite quiet. You usually hear him in games when the mics are on anyway. But in fairness, as you say, he did grow into it, in my opinion, as well.
Yeah, Grizz. The defence. We'll start with the defence. You know, we don't want to dig out Adrian too much. I mean, he had some good moments in the game, but you know, you could see the nerviness in them at the start. But as the lads have both said there, you know, it's something that Adrian grew into the game, but the team got into the game, and Henderson did make a big difference when he came on as part of organising that defence, as Gar said, didn't he?
Yeah, I think our fan base is a bit spoiled now, to be honest with you. I don't know what kind of performances we want, sort of every single game, or especially when you go away to a first game of a Champions League campaign, away to a young, vibrant Ajax. I say young, vibrant, but they've got a few experienced heads in there. I thought Blind was superb for them. I thought the clone they've got of De Ligt, we were talking about in the WhatsApp group, that shares we talked about last night, I thought he was immense. Look, we know the players that we've got missing. We know they're mainly defensive players, i.e. Matip, VVD, Alisson. I mean, that's our best back three. And without them, you expect a few nervy moments, especially in the first 15 minutes. And that's exactly what it was. That keeper of ours, didn't help himself in the first 15, 20 minutes. I'm not going to say his name.
Can I just say, sorry, Grizz, can I just say when the first ball went down the inside left channel cross, and Gomez is just looking to go, I'll just pass this back to the goalkeeper,
and he's on his head.
across the box, and he turns around and Adrian is there, and he's like, hey, and he just kicks the ball out, and straight away, without even looking or even thinking, I just popped open the WhatsApp group and just waited, and then it just came in.
The first message, I said some bad things. I'll probably take them back.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
I meant 90% of them, to be honest with you, but I'll take the 10%.
When he does anything, I just go Grizzo every time he does so.
Well, listen, as I said, you expect when you're playing with a brand new back four. I think Gar touched on it. Like, it's a brand new back four. They haven't played together, and the keeper, and then let's not forget the midfield in front of them has changed as well. Yeah, so it's a completely new midfield. Yeah. Probably the first time they've played. Gini, who's been playing as an 8, very rarely does he play as a 6. Suddenly plays as a 6. Curtis and Milner have got a lot of ground to cover. I thought what happened in the first half, I thought what it was I think we naturally, or maybe it was part of the game plan, we were playing 10 yards deeper than we normally do. Our offside line was 10 yards deeper because of the facts that I've just said, because we haven't got our first choice defense, and possibly and definitely our midfield. And so therefore I think there was a bit of a gap. The forwards were isolated from the midfield. The midfield was isolated from the back four. But I wasn't as worried or panicked as a lot of people seem to be. I thought we were controlled. I thought we lacked cutting edge up front. As you said, we were on the verge of so many times cutting through them, but just that final pass, as I said, the gaps between the midfield, the attacking was a bit too much for my liking. But I wasn't overly concerned. We deserved to be 1-up at halftime. I felt you're going to get a few chances. Ajax are a top quality team, attacking team. You're going to give away a few moments. That's part and parcel of football. But I thought overall, I was very, very content with the back four in that first half. Overall, minus a few patches. I thought second half we were absolutely superb.
Grizzo, you look at that midfield in the first half, mate, right? A lot of, we saw the WhatsApp group going a bit further about Jones, but you've just touched on something there. Ajax played 3 in the middle at times with Blind as a holding player, right? Where we've left so much space in the middle. Gini is sitting a hell of a lot deeper than usual. Milner, I don't know if you've noticed, stayed out left most of the time and was milling balls forward. So you've really got Curtis Jones covering all that space in the midfield. And to rely on a young player, of that age to try and grab a game by the scruff when there's so much space in the middle, lads, it is a bit much in fairness. We went away from our type of game that we usually play. So it was a tough situation for Jones to settle into as well. And then in the second half, obviously Henderson comes on and, we're a bit tighter. We're a bit more compact. We're playing slightly higher and the front three as well in the second half. I'm sure we'll touch on it. Certainly interchanged and connected a bit better than we did in the first half.
Go ahead, Gav. You going to say something there?
Curtis Jones was awful. And I don't care what age he is. If you're playing in the Champions League for Liverpool, you need to put in a performance. And he gave us nothing.
But Gav, nothing went near him, Gav. Nothing went near him.
But
He
it's
had
not
to
even that.
chase everything around centre mid. Nothing went near him. He's so much space to cover. No balls went through him, Gav. Every ball went right or left and down wings. And that was obviously the approach we took going into the game. Nothing, and I'm not defending Curtis Jones here, by the way, but nothing went through the middle in the first half. Nothing. We went wide a hell of a lot.
We did go wide a hell of a lot, but the biggest thing for me with Curtis Jones was he seemed to be looking around him an awful lot, as if to see if he's in the right place. Yeah. And I think Ajax, most of their good play came down that channel where Curtis Jones and Trent Alexander-Arnold was. Stephen Max's Jones was out of place in that game. He will come. I just felt positionally he wasn't great defensively, Gar. I felt they were playing around him. He was hesitant, which was causing Trent to be hesitant. He's another issue that we get onto in a few minutes. Oh, yeah. But I just felt it became too big for me. You know, he didn't seem to fit in the system defensively. And I get your point. He didn't get on the ball a hell of a lot. He seemed to be picking up a few balls as they were coming out of the box and stuff like that.
Balls,
and trying to do stuff. But defensively, just watching him defensively, I didn't think he was great. Because going forward, we were all right. Don't get me wrong, we were okay. But I didn't think he was good. I just didn't. But having said that, he wasn't even the worst midfielder because Milner was appalling. Appalling. Like every touch was a tackle. Yeah. You know.
Surprised he made it past half time, in fairness.
So I'm surprised he made it after past 30 minutes. I'm being honest. He was that bad. He was that bad.
I'm just going to give my threepence before you want to move on from Curtis Jones. I'm in kind of between both of you. I think Milner stays on because he's got it tactically up here, but he didn't have the legs to do what he needed to do. He was one of the reasons why Robbo had such a brilliant game, because he was always in the right position to cover. But on the ball, he was absolute pants. With Jones, I thought when he was on the ball, I thought he was okay, opposite of Milner. But too many times he was caught positionally incorrectly. And I agree with Guy, it was not his fault. The setup in midfield was slightly different to what we're accustomed to. We normally play a more compressed. The back four is sort of literally just 20, 30 yards away from the midfield usually. So there was too much of a gap. We didn't play through midfield. We had I think the midfield's jobs were slightly different. So I think it was difficult for him, but he didn't make the right decisions at the right times, I felt. Not with the ball, but without the ball, in terms of who to press and who to cover. There was a slight misunderstanding with him and Trent a couple of times. But look, he's young, very, very much an experience for him. And, you know, he's got a good session under his experience-wise.
The only thing I would say from him is he is out of position, but he does turn around a couple of times expecting Trent to be in a certain place and Trent's not there. The amount of times Trent went to go and do something and then backed off and then found themselves 2-on-1 was mad, especially in the first half. He was look, we'll go and intercept that, and then no, I won't. He was on the back foot and they were hitting balls around him, and I have a feeling Trent is miles off form for whatever reason. I don't know whether he's smelling himself a little bit. I don't know whether it's a fitness issue. Just played an awful lot of football. I don't know what it is, but it's the hesitant Trent, and I don't like it because he neither does one thing or the other. And that's the only one thing I would say about Jones, is that he did turn around at certain times to go, well, Trent will be there to get that, and he wasn't. And next of all, it looks like I'm miles out of position here and I'm trying my best to get back, and he wasn't. But it felt like a bit of a game too big for him. And I'm only saying that because I think don't get me wrong, if you played him in every group game, I think he'd come on leaps and bounds as the games went on, because he'd get more used to it. And European football is different to Premier League football. 100%. And, you know, a lot of teams come out and try press you, and they try play around you, and they try use the possession, whereas the vast majority of Premier League teams don't, you know. But we'll have to wait and see. And maybe I'm being a bit harsh on him, but I'm not being harsh on Milner. He was appalling.
Milner was dreadful. He certainly was. I felt it was a bit harsh on Jones because while he didn't impact the game as much as he might have liked, I felt the first half performance was very disjointed. As you mentioned about Trent there at right full on that side, Milner was horrendous. Genie settled in as the game went on, but he didn't start too well. And I felt Mo was off it tonight. I know Grizz disagreed with me, but I felt Mo wasn't great, and obviously Klopp agreed with me. So, you know, in your face, Grizz. But it was one of them. I think if Milner had got hooked, and Jones had a stead on. It's all it coulda, shoulda, woulda, but he would have. The team performance got better as the game went on, and Jones might have benefited. But I don't think we can use his age as an excuse because Gravenberch is only 18, and he was playing in the Ajax midfield, and he looked like he 10 years experience. Shawnee made a great point. Shawnee made a great point in the chat there. Ajax are used to winning. At home, they don't get bossed. And we went in there and we can nitpick at it, but, it was a good team performance by everyone there. But it did, as I said, it built up a head of steam. So as the match was going on, Gar, I'll come to you. The match is going on. We don't have much attack and threat, but Mane seemed to be the outball. The left side was where we were killing them. How do you feel Mane played? And is there any way concerned that he had to strap an ice pack onto him when he came off, or is it just precautionary?
They looked quick enough to take him off, lads, didn't they? So I would imagine it's precautionary. Could have been a knock. I don't remember him going into any mad challenges that he came off. So hopefully he hasn't pulled that. But I have to say, I know Gav touched on it. The guy is out of this world, and we constantly rave about him. And obviously Salah is a bit different, where he could do nothing for 90 minutes and as we saw the weekend, just strikes a ball out now when it goes in. But the guy is different gravy. But what he gives the team in regards of tactical flexibility, in regards of his work rate, in regards of him and Robbo's understanding is absolutely again what Gav said. Their understanding is unbelievable. Now I know Robbo's had a couple of slips in previous games, but I have to say again, I thought he was immense tonight. Again, him and Mane.
Yeah. Gav, the left-hand side, Gar touched on it there, the understanding when Mane tucks in, Robbo's bombing on the outside, it's always an outlet for us, isn't it? And it was again today.
Yeah, they're fantastic together. Mane is our best player. He's just simply is. He is. Now, I'm not saying he's our most important player. There's a difference there. I think Virgil van Dijk is our most important player. He leaves the biggest hole because of the cover, I suppose. We have a left centre back where if you look now, where if Mane comes off, he's a big loss if he's not on the pitch. Don't get me wrong, because I genuinely do think he's our best player. But when you look at Jota and Minamino when they come on, we'll get onto them later. But there's the sort of cover you have there. It's a lot better than the cover we have at centre half. But they were outstanding, the both of them tonight. Mane must be just an absolute another nightmare to play with. On the substitutions, I think it was pre-planned. 60 minutes, the trios are off. I don't care what's going on. The trios are off and we take our chances. But when you look at Mane, he's just so intelligent. We talk about people picking up pockets of space and stuff like that, and it's usually about in around the middle of the park. He picks up pockets of space in an area that's quite small, between the line of the edge of the box and the sideline. He picks up pockets of space which are ridiculous. Robertson is just back to what Andy Robertson you're used to, up and down and driving with the ball. And you could see after 25 minutes that Neres fella didn't want to know. He was like, I'm not chasing him. I can't be doing this all day. And Mane is involved in the only goal of the game, and it's a brilliant turn pass that centre half. Is it Shores? Is that his name? Yeah. He looked good, but Mane just roasted him. But he's such a good fucking player, and everything he does, he's either looking to create for somebody else or get in on goal himself, and he's positive. He very rarely loses the ball. He's so strong. He's just a magnificent footballer, and I think, we go on about Virgil van Dijk being out, and he does, as I said, leave the biggest hole. But my God, if Sadio Mane drops out of that team, I'd be heartbroken. I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, Grizz, as Gav says there, he feels Mane is our best player. Is it, Gav? You're saying he's our best player?
I think he's our best player.
Yeah. I know he's sort of in Mo's shadow when it comes to the goal scored, and Mo always sort of pips him. But as Gav touched on there, he doesn't have a bad game, man. He never has a bad game, whereas Mo can have a bad game and pop in a goal or two. Do you feel he's becoming that now, Grizz, that Mane is becoming the pivotal one of our attack?
I don't think he's becoming. I think he's been. It's just been under the radar. I think I'm trying to work out the one word that sort of epitomizes Mane, and it's relentless. He's absolutely relentless. I thought Shers had a very good game against him in that first half. I thought it was a brilliant battle. I thought there was a couple of times where he tried to run him and Shers got him. Proper battle that they had between them two. But the thing with Mane is he just won't let his head drop. You can give him the ball, feed him in the ball, and as much pace as you want on it, and whatever, and how much pressure he's got, he will keep fighting. He will keep trying. He'll try go on the outside, on the inside. He knows, he's so intelligent. He knows when to just lay it off into Robbo, make space for Robbo. I thought the two of them were outstanding. In my opinion, I thought the two of them had their best games today. I thought as a team, as they are, you know what I mean? When I say a team, the tag team between the two of them, I thought they were superb, Keith. I thought the relentless, the intensity, time and time again. It's all well and good Ajax knowing where the danger is going to come from, but it's a different thing trying to actually deal with it for 90 minutes, or in this case, 45 minutes. You know, they dealt with it, and then Mane, all he needs is one beautiful turn. I think he takes it from the throw-in or pass.
Throw in.
Superb turn, you know, and creates a bit of space, danger, havoc, and we get the own goal from the left back. We said is class.
He actually did play very well. The left back.
Look, they had a few good players. But I tell you, we were just so relentless, especially down that left. Look, Sadio Mane is Sadio Mane. I think it's no secret now. You know, maybe it was under the radar a couple of years ago, and it's now people have realized that he's the main man. I mean, Mo, as you say, is just one of the world's most efficient forwards. You know, in terms of, you know, his numbers are ridiculous. He's just, you know, he can have a bad game, but he'll score you a couple of goals and an assist out of nothing. But Mane is just that Mr. Consistent. I actually think Mane kind of dragged Bobby into having not a good game, but Bobby was more prominent. I know me and you had a bit of an argument about it. I didn't think he was awful, but I didn't think he was great. I think you said he was great. I thought he was better. And I think Sadio's has a lot to do with that, where he was driving him onto playing better as well.
Can I ask you a question? Because there's a lot about Firmino in the chat here, right? About he was a bit invisible. He wasn't great today. You know, Carl Blake there says Sadio steps up every game, always takes responsibility, always wants the ball, loves a scrap, world class. I couldn't agree more with that. But I just want to ask you as a question. If Firmino isn't going to play because of a lack of form, and that's fair enough, everyone goes through a lack of form, right? What would you do? What would be your solution? I'd like to know what you're thinking on this.
Oh, it's a hard one. It's a hard one because you do a straight swap and you put someone else in there like Minamino. No, I think you tweak the formation and you go to 4-2-3-1. You move Salah up front. But then who goes right side? Because I don't think Minamino's effective over there. Are you moving Mane over there and putting Jota in on the left? So it's a hard one to do. You just go Jota straight up the centre, but he's more effective. It'll come on to him. He's more effective coming from the left. So it's a hard one. Like,
I'd like to see Mane central, Keith, because as Grizz has just touched on, he's so intelligent tactically, his work rate, what he can do. He can go by players, whereas Firmino doesn't really do that. He's all obviously flicks and tricks in regards to little wall passes and stuff around centre backs at times when he's in tight spaces. For me, I'd love to see, if that was to happen, Gav, I'd love to see Mane through the middle, Jota out wide on the left, and obviously Salah to the right. I don't think your shape and your side changes much with that direct swap, in my opinion. But listen,
I think there's a variety of ways we can go about it.
Yeah. What would be your preferred one, though?
For me, the preferred one would be a change from into a 4-2-3-1. That would be my preferred one. We discussed it last night.
No, I'm glad Gar said that, because that's exactly what I do. I wouldn't go Salah up top. I'd go Mane up front, and I'd put Jota out the left, and I'd put Mane on the right, or Salah on the right, because for me, Salah's just going to look to get in behind if he plays up front. That's what he's all about, pacing in behind. Where if you look at the reason it came into my head was because a couple of times tonight, especially in the second half, Mane drifts into the middle of the park. For some reason, he drifts. It's obviously to open up space behind him for Robertson, because Robertson knows he has the beating of the right back, especially when he just gets his head down and goes from. But the amount of times the ball came into Mane and it was bouncing high, it was coming in at his chest, and he was trapping it. He was taking control of it. He was holding off the two centre halves. He was turning. He was playing people in, and I thought he's the man to put up front because he has everything about him. Absolutely everything about him. The other thing you could do is go 4-2-3-1 and stick Mane in behind. You could keep Mane central in behind the striker and put Jota, and I'd love to see him put Mane in behind Minamino and Jota and Salah off each side. But I just thought I'd ask just because
it's interesting. It is very interesting because, like, I think, just staying on this for a second, I think with Mane out left, he makes so much space coming from there and he causes so much havoc. You know, like for the goal tonight, and there was a few times when he stands up the fullback, he's going, and I think it's nearly a move of his that I feel Mo could be more effective centrally than Sadio could be more. I think you'd lose a bit of Mane, but then he's so good. Like you could put him anywhere. You could put him in midfield, and I think he'd do a job for you. You know what I mean? He's tough and he's running and he's tackling. He can do everything.
Yeah, the beauty is you got to remember, and we sometimes forget, Sadio Mane played an amazing season for us on the right.
Yeah,
he's absolutely brilliant. He's absolutely brilliant on that right wing, and we've seen glimpses of the potential of Jota today. I mean, guys, that was, he was like Mane. It was near enough clone, the way he got the ball, the strength he showed down the line. He could possibly go outside and inside. Always the threat of cutting inside, and look how dangerous he looked. I think Mane, that's the reason why Mane is probably our most valuable forward, because he can play all three of those roles. Yeah. And Salah, I think Salah's streakiness and his just passion for goals, and that you desire, he's got this, when Salah wants a goal, he usually gets it. Do you know what I mean? One of those ones. He's got that knack of being on the end of rebounds, knowing where to be. And I think that could be, if we were to sort of change it as Gav's original question, I think Salah would be most suited to go through the middle, out of the Jota and the Mane options. Shaqiri, again, another option, absolutely would play the right wing, totally different from Mo. But if you had Salah through the middle and then Mane and Jota, in behind, what variety of attack that would be. But I think the best way and the most efficient way for me to replace Bobby would be a formation change, in my opinion.
Yeah, could be. It could be. We'll never know. But look, we'll move on and we'll talk about the changes now in a sec. So the goal comes, as we said there, Mane cuts in, makes the space himself, does all the work, scuffs the cross shot, whatever it was. And in fairness to Tagliafico, it was very similar to Robbo's against Arsenal, because it takes a couple of deflections and then it sort of comes to him quick, and he's adjusting his feet and it looks like a howler, but when you see the deflection and it coming at him, there's not much you can do about that. So look, we get in at half time, the change is made. Gav, I'll come back to you. Are you expecting a change, and are you expecting Curtis Jones to be the one to go, or do you think there was a few candidates and it could have been any of them?
I thought he might. The two changes I was thinking at the time was Jota for Firmino, and I was actually thinking Henderson for Milner, because as much as Jones for me was a bit off with regards defensively, I thought it's the lesser of two evils to take off Milner for me. I know he has the experience, and look, it worked out in the end. I still felt in the second half he was just chasing a load of nothing, and not having much of an impact. But I thought my thinking behind it was, it doesn't matter if you leave Jones on. If you bring Henderson on, Henderson's going to make sure that Jones knows exactly where to be at all times. Henderson's going to sit the deepest. And he's going to look across at Jones to his right hand side and go, I usually do that every single week. So all I have to do is just keep telling him what to do. Yeah. And that's what my thinking was. Now, we didn't go with that. He took Jones off, and you could argue it was the toss of a coin. I don't think it was, because I think Milner slowed us down so much. He was giving away silly frees. It just wasn't happening for him. But he brings on Henderson, and I say it again, the difference this fella makes to the team, it's just how some people don't see it, I don't know. I really don't know. And you know what? I'm actually not arguing the point anymore. I will not have an argument about Jordan Henderson anymore. I will.
You're right.
I will on a game-to-game basis if he's being good or bad, but I will not have an argument about the overall stature or influence of Jordan Henderson on Liverpool Football Club and the way they play football. It won't happen again. He comes on, he goes into the middle of midfield, and Ajax immediately run out of ideas. Immediately.
Yeah.
They don't open us up. They don't have little intricate players around our box. They're not pressing us because, let's press them because it's not working for them. He immediately goes in there and he says, give me the ball. And he's fizzing passes around. And he's playing balls around the corner that are two players, two air players. And Ajax know now, if we press... Now, I'm not saying he can break up any pressing machine. I'm not that naive. But what I am saying is, when he gets it, he does a purpose to what he was doing. In the first half, when Alden was hesitant on it, Milner was his touch was miles away from him, and Jones was struggling, right? But in the second half, if you look at it, it goes into Henderson. Like, there's one in particular where you play into Henderson, and Ajax attempt to press, and he just fizzes a 15-20 yard pass to Trent, who gets it out of his feet immediately, and we're on the move. And maybe that's affecting Trent as well. The quickness of the balls, how they're fizzing them, getting them in front of him, maybe that's affecting his game, because he does seem to get an awful lot of touch and get rid of it at the moment. But I thought Henderson was just... I don't know what to say. He's Liverpool's captain, and he's captain for a reason. And he comes on there, and the standards immediately go up. It's as simple as that.
Gar, I know you're a huge Jordan Henderson fan, but Gav was right, wasn't he? The tempo just upped as soon as he got in there, and everything was quicker, and everything was sharper, and everything was crisper. You could really see the difference.
I think I said, I said in the group, with every side there's a focal point, and obviously we're missing two of our major focal, that spine that everyone always speaks about, and you could see the minute he came on, in regards to the passing was a lot quicker, as Gav said, but you could immediately hear him through, obviously with the no fans being there, the leadership and the direction, and people being told, go there, go here, go there. It's listen, I'm a big fan, and I'm the first one to slate him when he's had a bad game. I'm not getting involved in any arguments on Twitter with anyone anymore over it, because it's worthless. As Gav has said, the guy's a major part of our team, and we're seeing the first half, with regards of, in regards of the three midfielders in not knowing the positions they should have been in. Milner did stay out left, and that was obviously something pre-planned. And Jones stayed further right at times to help Trent there, or whatever was planned. And there was so much of a gap in there. Now, we did whatever Henderson was, I wouldn't even say he was told, lads. He goes in, he shores up that space in the middle. We become a side that plays a bit higher up the park, because he's telling people, go here, go. And you can always hear it, Elvin.
Yeah. You really do, Grizz, Henderson, someone put in the chat there, I can't remember who it was, Henderson's better than a kid, shocker. It's not that Henderson improved because Jones went off.
No.
I think we all agree that Milner was the worst. Maybe I'm speaking now tone for years, but I think Milner was the worst player, and Gav has said the same. And the difference, and the reason I want to say that is Milner, he was missing... he was trying to pass it and missing the ball. You don't see that from Milner usually. And the difference when Hendo came on was the quickness of the release and the sharpness. What did you make of that, Grizz? Do you think that was a big factor in how it went? Nothing to do with Jones. It wasn't Hendo over Jones, but it was just the movement you could see was just that bit crisper, wasn't it?
The biggest difference from Hendo coming on and the first half midfield performance was the space we reduced. Space was reduced between the back four and the midfield line automatically, absolutely straight away. 10 yards forward, Gomez and Fabinho got a lift. These guys, we talk about respect and captaincy and leadership. As soon as you see Henderson come on now, look how much he's come on leaps and bounds. As soon as these other players see Henderson come on, they've automatically... I'm sure it was instruction, but generally as well, the spirits are lifted, the back line is come forward 10, 15 yards, and there's far less space. How many times Ajax kind of passed their way through our midfield in the first half was slightly worrying. Without creating much, they seem to have time on the ball. I don't remember none of them having time on the ball in that second half. I know we're showering praise on Henderson, but I'm going to shower praise on Gini Wijnaldum in that second half. I thought that is the Gini Wijnaldum that we want to see on a consistent basis. He's not been himself. I'm a Gini fan overall, but he's not been himself, since restart, I guess. But if we remember, the goal starts from his driving run in the first half as well. Even though he was playing as the deepest six, we forgot to touch upon that. He's the one who does that dart where he's got that powerful surge, powerful run that he makes through the midfield, and he's capable of doing that. I thought his energy levels in the second half didn't drop. I thought his desire, his tenacity, and it's the competition you see. It's now every player, we've discussed this before, it's healthy competition. We talked about Henderson's, Gav, I think, touched upon Henderson's calmness when being pressed. Amazing what a few sessions with THIAGO does, eh? You know?
But it's not even that, it's not even that, Grizz. It's not even that. It's he knows the way we play. That's the difference between him and Jones. He knows when Fabinho pops a ball into him, he knows immediately. I just play it. I play it to the right hand side, and Trent is always there.
But that's why I was not as critical as you was about Jones. You see, because it's natural. Jones hasn't played.
It was more defensive than attacking. I was more critical of.
But whatever. The fact is, you're right. He hasn't. Hendo knows the way we play. Inside out, not only as the 6, but as when he's utilized as the 8 as well, you see, because he's played so many games there as well. I thought Henderson just was superb. I think all of them, to a man. I don't know if you want to talk about individual performances, but we can, a couple of players that we touched upon last night in the preview. We talked about the centre-back partnership, and, we talked about, Gav asked the question yesterday, I want to see Gomez take some responsibility, play like a leader. I thought he was imperious. Start where Adrian was stepping on his toes, when he's supposed to be on his fucking goal line. Sorry, I mentioned his name, didn't I? Did I mention Adrian's name?
Yeah, you did. Of course you did.
Yeah, that's why I automatically saw the word. Yeah, but apart from that, I thought Gomez and Fabinho were so good. Honestly,
that Gomez moment, lads, is going to become a gif, isn't it?
Oh man,
It's not even that. Like, I agree with Grizz on Gomez. I have to be honest, I thought the first 15, 20 he was very shaky. Now, I'm not saying it was all down to him. I'm not for a minute. I think the ball down that channel. Now, I made a joke of it earlier, but as soon as I seen that ball go down the channel, and listen, everyone knows the fella chasing Gomez is the furthest fella up the pitch for Ajax, right? Nobody is within 50 yards of this ball. He can play it across his own goal. ADRIAN comes onto it, and he can do what he likes. And he turns to play it, and the fella's kicking it off him out for a throw, and you can see him going, what the fuck are you doing here? I think that rattled him a bit, because I thought, he's probably thinking in his head, oh, for fuck's sake, we're 5 minutes in here, and this is fucking happening. How long? This is going to be a long night. There is a couple where he's a bit tame on headers. He's a bit hesitant going into tackles, and I think he was afraid to commit because I think Gomez thinks, if I get done here, there's not a fucking hope behind me. You know what I mean? Whereas you can take a bit of a chance with Alisson, because if you get through on Alisson, look at him, the size of him, he's gorgeous. You know what I mean? His looks will put you off. But then as the game grew, I went on. I agree with Grizz 100%. I thought the two of them are absolutely excellent. There's a couple of headers near the end from Gomez that were just outstanding defensive headers. Like, I mean, proper under pressure, fellas piling in on them, and he was heading them 50 yards. Like, it was, he really come on, and I'm absolutely delighted for him. I'm absolutely delighted for Joe Gomez after tonight.
Gav, something you touched on last night. So go ahead, Gar. Go ahead.
Sorry, lads. Just something that thought at the end of the first half. Do you think the injury to Kudos sort of kind of helped us a bit, because in regard, he was popping up everywhere. He was dropping into a 10. He was willing to go into the wings. He was willing to go beyond Gomez at times. With Proms, so he's kind of static in the way. He just wants to play off the shoulder of a centre half, which would have helped there too. Without doubt. So I think, myself personally, I think the injury to Kudos helps us a hell of a lot, because it impacted their forward play hugely. I thought.
Good point, because he was known, and again, we picked up on it yesterday. We talked about him. He's known in the Dutch media as this new Clown Seedorf for them. So he's that kind of player where he pops up in those spaces that Seedorf used to appear in. You're right. He's totally different from Promes, who's an out-and-out speed merchant on the wing. He's a different type of player. But again, I wouldn't be overly worried if he was on the pitch still in that second half, because that was the area where I thought Gini and Henderson would have ate him alive as well. I mean, whoever would have been in that area, they were in such they were in such a mode where we were just back to our pressing, swarming best guard. I think anyone in that area wouldn't have had time to even think, never mind get a foot on the ball. You know, we were that compact and good in the second half, especially when they chucked on loads of forwards and we thought, okay, here we go, it's going to be bombardment. It was everything but. We absolutely dominated them, you know. So I think it was one of our, I really enjoyed it. I can't stress it. I mean, I know it wasn't beautiful to watch at times, but I thought our defending was so strong at times, you know, to each to a man. I suppose, sorry, Keith, we're going to probably touch on the three players that come on to enhance that press.
You hosting this or what, Grizz?
Yeah, sorry.
I'm only messing. But look, I was going to say there, Gav, you touched on it last night on the show. I don't know if it was Chris or whoever made the point. Gomez switching to the left-hand side of the centre half.
Chris.
It make him a bit more focused, and maybe, you know, it took him a few minutes to maybe settle into that and get used to it. But when he did, I felt his concentration was bang at it today. So we're into the second half, lads. Right, we go into the second half. They hit the post. Davy Klassen hits the post early on. Don't know if Adrian got a touch on it. Does anyone know, or did they just go through?
It looked it to me, but Grizz is not going to give him the credit, is he?
No. Well, it's an interesting point because he does make a good save from, is it Promes in the first half when it looked like it could have been offside? And Adrian does. So, I mean, Adrian, has the moment with Gomez at the start, and then there's another one that he kicks into, is it Tadic? He kicked into somebody in any way.
That was soon after the whole Gomez incident. The ball's passed back to him. The ball's passed back to him. He does as usual. He rolls his studs under it. Stands there for 10 seconds, doing nothing. Not looking anywhere, just doing nothing. Like it's like you know when there's a glitch in the game and the fucking keeper just stands there for ages, and then he waits until the fella's literally on top of him and tries to kick it out, and then starts crying at people to move left and move right. Listen,
it's a dodgy tactic for a fella who can't kick, isn't it?
Come here, he actually can kick the ball. He can. It's just he can. If you ask him to boot it, he can boot it. He just refuses to do it for 10 seconds. If you actually just ask him to kick the ball long, he can do it. It's a game of bingo with him now, right? It's a lotto. That's what it is. You're going to have to weigh up the mistakes he makes in games against the good things he does in games, good things he does, and hope that the good things outweigh the bad things. And on top of that, hope that we're good up the other end of the pitch, because you know, where Alisson will make a mistake or letting a goal that you think he probably should have got to, that happens once every 20 fucking games. With Adrian, you're guaranteed to be 3 or 4 nervous moments, you know. Even near the end, he's calling keeper and he comes out and he's nowhere fucking near it. Do you know what I mean? But, you know, it's just, what can you do? You're just going to have to deal with it. But I'm hoping, listen, we play Sheffield United, we play Midtjylland, and I hope then we see Alisson back. I really do.
Hopefully the sooner the better, because I genuinely think Alisson in that team, and a lot of the anxiety for the fans and the team sort of lifts as well, because he gives that assurance. Now Alisson, in fairness, does take a bit of time to get back in. That's the only thing I'd say. He doesn't get straight back into the rhythm, but look, we'd rather that than Adrian. But the game is on. They've hit the post. Whether Adrian gets a touch or not, I'll give him the credit. He's grown into the game himself without having to do too much. We then make the triple change on the hour. Now, Gav, you said you felt it was a pre-planned
100%.
change. Mo didn't look like it was pre-planned, but then that could be just any striker that
he just hasn't scored and he knows his time is up.
He's
That's
frustrated.
What that is.
He actually had a good chance in the first half where he cuts back and he made the balls of it and they got a block, you know. So you could tell Mo probably wasn't at the races. Were you surprised at the fact that we done a triple change and that it was the front three that were replaced?
I was surprised. I'm surprised when any team makes a triple change, because it's usually when you're losing the game and you're struggling and it's the last throw of the dice to try grab something, because you know, listen, throw them all on and see what happens. But it looks pre-rehearsed to me. You know, the 3 of them are off the bench. They know exactly what they're doing. You know, the board is up straight away. It's literally like they come out at half time and said to the fourth official, number 9, number 10, and number 11 are coming off on 60, and number bleeding 20, 18, and whatever else is going on. You know, 23. But I was surprised by it, but I really enjoyed it. I have to be honest with you. I really enjoyed it. There was a different dynamic to us. Minamino was so good, Keith. He's so fucking good. He's so good. He's so intelligent. He's quicker than you think. He gets those little bursts down the channels to get the ball. He's so skillful, drop his shoulder. His weight of pass is very good. He's so good. Jota is going to be a fabulous sign for us. Fitness, keeps fit and keeps going. He's going to be a brilliant sign for us. He was so good at carrying the ball second half for us when we needed. We were under a little bit of pressure. And Ajax had 8 strikers on. Huntelaar was fucking taking out the bleeding. The nursing home down the road and banged on.
Their changes in a minute.
But the amount of times Jota got it and just got a touch on the edge of the box. Next thing he's in there half of it. And all right, he might be running out of space, but he's in there fucking half of it and not theirs. Yeah, I thought he was really good. Shaqiri huffed and puffed a little bit, but surprised by Keith, but I thoroughly enjoyed the 3 of them when they come on. Really did.
Yeah. Gar, I'll come to you. It's a surprise to many, I'm sure, but is it a sign that, the strength maybe in that front 3, the depth is starting to improve a bit, and do you feel Origi is now, the forgotten man there? Is that 3 that came on the next 3 in line? Gav said that Shaqiri had moments. A few nice through balls, in fairness to Shaqiri, he was involved. The other 2 more so. Do you feel that's the next line of attack really, and Origi's another one down again on that?
The Shaqiri one was a huge surprise to me, that? Really, really big surprise. He's obviously doing it in training, credit to the guy. But Jota is nailed on to come onto the left, whether that's the position that Origi has always sort of been thrown on into. Yeah. He doesn't do enough for me, Origi. I know he's he's done his bits in the past, but I think he's finished in that front 3. I don't think he does enough. Jota, obviously, tactical flexibility. He's better on the ball. He can attack people. He can interchange and quick passes, and he's come from a Wolves side that has always been known, to work hard under Nuno. Work, and he's coming into a Liverpool side where he can now go and play a bit more. To be honest with you, there's not that not that reliability on him to drop into shape all the time. He's now in a side where it's that bit more fluid, and he gets to do what he enjoys a bit more, a bit like we've seen him in his Portuguese jersey. But I thought he was excellent when he came on. That one that Gav has spoken about, where he throws his head into a high foot and just breaks his. That's Mane stuff, as Grizz said earlier on. That's we're so used to Mane throwing his head in and gone. In regards of a 50-yard run, it was unbelievable to watch. But I thought he was really, really impressive. Minamino, you have just spoken about the little intricate passes, the way he presses. Another, again, flexible in regards of our front 3 and the way he can play. He can play in A&M positions as well. He can play in an advanced midfield role. So yeah, I'd be spot on with saying, in agreeing with you. Yeah, that's our second front 3, if you want to call it that.
Yeah, and Grizz, the lads have spoke lonely about Jota. He got a lot of criticism from our fan base and outside for paying the money, the reported fee that we're paying for him. But he just looks fits it like a glove. And I'm going to compare him to one that since then probably hasn't had the look, but it was similar to when Oxlade-Chamberlain signed for us. It was a big fee for Oxlade-Chamberlain, and he'd stagnated at Arsenal, and Wolves fans may have felt that Jota had stagnated at Wolves. Big fee, but just looks so suited to the style, doesn't he? That it looks at the moment like it's money well spent.
Yeah, it's down to meticulous scouting of attributes of players, strengths of players. You talked about Ox, a lot of eyebrows raised, but Klopp and his team knew what they wanted to do with Ox. We didn't want to play Ox like Arsenal were playing Ox, as opposed, on the right wing, etc., etc. We saw different attributes in Ox that we saw, when he was, bless him, when he's fit and totally fit and sort of confident with his fitness. We see the attributes, the strength, the running, the powerful running from midfield. Similarly, Jota's performance, Minamino's performance today showed, and I know you guys already touched on Divock Origi, but it showed why Divock Origi is, in my opinion, out of the picture at Liverpool. Yeah. It was a total contrast, stark contrast into the way Origi plays that position, Minamino or Jota. Either one of them could play that. Even Shaqiri, I thought, even though he didn't see much of the ball, his work rate was outstanding.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Shaqiri ever work like that before in his previous times with Stoke or even his national team? He's absolutely part of the fabric. He understands what he needs to do in this Klopp team. Minamino I know Gav praised him earlier, and I didn't get a chance to praise him earlier. I thought he was fantastic. His movement is getting better and better and better. And it's competition. It's competition for Bobby. Bobby has to raise his game. Minamino is flying. Jota is absolutely flying. The confidence of getting goals against, can't remember the international teams, but for his national team, that couldn't have
Sweden
done him no harm. Yeah, whoever it was, brilliant goals. The way he played that role is, as you said, again, it's just so reminiscent of Sadio Mane. You can see he's been watching videos, studying. He's been asked to just watch Sadio, the best left winger in world football. Go and watch him. You've got the attributes. So therefore, when we went for him, we knew, that, okay, at Wolves, as Gar says, he played a more up and down role, didn't have the freedom, to play his game with the ball. That's what he's got now with Liverpool. When he gets the ball, when we've got possession of the ball, he's allowed to just whiz around at will. Go in, go out. I thought it was superb. And bless him, Divock Origi. Look, cult hero. I'm not gonna start, talking about Origi on a night like this, but it just shows you the stark difference between Origi and the lads that we had come on for the front three today.
Do you know when Origi comes on and he plays down the left? And you look at him as an out ball, don't you? Usually when we're protecting the game, he comes on, he protects. You're looking for an out ball down the left. He can get down and get us away from goal. Watch Jota tonight, and the difference is he's as good with the ball at his feet as Origi. He's strong. He's as quick, but he has a pass in him. Yeah. And Origi will run down an avenue and turn back and may hold on to it and play it back to Robertson. We start and we recycle.
It's a great point.
Whereas Jota, was it Jota earlier? He was on a run and he just hit this pass left footed across the goal. Was it for Wijnaldum? Was it Jota that hit it?
Yeah, the one he slid in for, wasn't it?
Yeah, he slid in for Wijnaldum. I think it was breaking. And when you look at it and you say, no, listen, we've all said it before, Origi and the big goals he's got, but that's fine. But he doesn't suit what we do. And that was shown tonight by Jota when he comes on. Jota comes on to work hard, press, and be an out ball and protect the ball. He does all of that while being creative at the same time. He runs at that fella Shores, and he comes across him, he drops the shoulder, he goes, and your man gets a good tackle in, but you can see how direct he is. You never feel like he's going to lose the ball. You never feel like he's going to waste the ball. And watching what's going on here, I can't for the life of me understand why Divock Origi is still at Liverpool. How he didn't do something this summer. But Jota is light years ahead of Divock Origi for what we want to do as a Liverpool player.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, you touched on something there, Gav. When it comes to Origi out left, he's taking a touch, he's stopping it, and he's just going into the channel, where the Jota is just direct, ball out and going. And it is a big difference. And even centre forward, we don't play sort of high balls into the box. Now, some people probably think we should have that as a plan B option, but Minamino just being in there like a little buzzsaw looks like that's a better option as well. So where does Divock get the games? You just can't see it coming. But look, we won't dig Divock out tonight because he didn't get on. He's done good things for us, fair play. The game changed with that three, I felt, and I was delighted that the game changed on that, because it showed everyone that we're not overly reliant on our front three. It's only one game, it's only a half an hour of one game. But it's the first Champions League game. It's away from home. It's against the other big team in the group. Now, I know people will think Atalanta are the threat, but it just goes to show that we're not overly reliant. We took the three lads off, we put the others on, and it worked well. Ajax then made a double change to get back into the game. And he took off fucking Shores and Daley Blind. Now, Daley Blind was having a good game, holding midfield, but he was really an auxiliary centre. He was in a centre back, really, wasn't he? He was shadowing Bobby when he was on.
He's a good footballer.
He is a very good player.
Is a good footballer.
Ludicrous United got rid of him. Absolute shambles over there. Yeah. Good lads.
Never did know how to play him. It's similar to Di Maria. Like Di Maria was a great player, still is a great player, but they couldn't.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Ten Hag makes this change. He brings these two off and he puts on Huntelaar and Lassina Traore, was it, or Diarra or so, I don't know. Some big lump goes up front. And he played, what was it, 3-2-5. It was desperate.
Yeah.
Desperate times.
It was. Can I just quickly go first, and then you can elaborate?
Yeah,
on
go
it?
ahead. Grizzing quickly. I like the idea of this.
It was desperation. It was sheer desperation. We had run them into the ground. The midfield had absolute no legs left, chasing the leather for the majority of the game. Ajax are not used to any team coming to the Amsterdam Arena and controlling the ball for the majority of the game. They chased shadows in terms of how we kept passing in the second half. They had run out of ideas. It was pure desperation. There was no tactics behind it, Keith. There was absolutely no planning or thinking. It was sheer desperation. The coach didn't have any idea what to do next because there was no ideas to do. And he thought, let's go for the Hail Marys. And that is so un-Ajax. But credit to Liverpool.
Gav, he makes them changes, and for me, that was game over. It was a bit of a madness. Were you worried when he made that and they were just sort of looking like they were going to go all out attacking gung-ho, or did you feel it was a mad thing to do in a Champions League game at home?
No, I think what trigger. Now I know it comes later in the game, but what triggers that in his mind, I think, is the triple sub we make. You know, because he's looking at Firmino, Mane, Salah, and he's saying to himself, if I go 3-2-5 here, I'm getting absolutely upended. Yeah. Because as you know, uninspiring as Firmino has been, if you tell him, listen, you're going to play 25 minutes here with you, Mane and Salah against their three boys, he just go, grand, I'm just dropping 20 yards, I'm just going to take one touch, turn, and then look for the pass. And he was a bit unlucky tonight, Firmino, with a couple of passes. He hit one in the first half, and when he hit it, he went, oh my God, what a ball. And in fairness, Tagliafico, I think, gets back in and just gets a touch on it to stop Salah being away. But their manager is looking, going, I can't overcome here. I can't overcome it. And because of them three boys. But when we make that change, he thinks, I can commit a bit more here now. You know, these aren't it. But it actually works against him. He would have been better staying as he was and not trying to go gung-ho for the last 20 or whatever it might have been. He'd have been better off just trying to stay in the game. And, you know, because let's be honest, on another night, Liverpool are breaking away there and they've scored in 3 or 4. And that's all because of his reaction to wear triple sub. If he'd have just kept it tight and then said, right, I don't know when Huntelaar comes on, is it 80 minutes? Is it 80 minutes? Just
after 80, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So what he could have done, what he should have really done was, he gets lucky that when you're outside, I'm being honest with you. But what he...
74? No, it's not. It's 80, yeah, 83.
I thought it was about 10 minutes to go. But when I seen this happen and I seen they're going gung-ho, I thought, great. Because we'll back it up and we have got the players back there that can defend at a deep line, no problem. And then when you looked at the Jota and you looked at Minamino and Shaqiri and Wijnaldum was trying to break and Henderson was really cool and Robertson was just up and down, I thought, we'll deal with this. I wasn't worried whatsoever. I think he reacted to what we done and he reacted in a bad way. Keith, he should have kept his shape. He should have kept his shape and maybe went with one of those subs. You know, one of those subs, because when it got a bit berserk, Liverpool were quite happy with that, and they were quite happy with breaking into space whenever they felt like it.
Yeah. Gar. Ten Hag has a reputation, he's a good coach, he's very highly thought of. He has an absolute brain fart tonight because, as Gav touched on there, he made the wrong changes and it allowed, you know, we'd seen how our lads had grown into it and the front three were very, very busy. And we had Robbo bombing up and Genie, as the game went on, was breaking and getting up. Would he have been, as Gav said, would he have been better off maybe if he wanted to throw on Huntelaar or that other big stock in the shite that went up front for them? Would he have been better off doing that at the expense of maybe a forward player or one of their midfielders rather than taking out centre backs and holding mids? Like, what was your thinking behind it? Could you see any rationale?
Listen, as a coach, you know, you've got to credit him. He's trying to get a point out of the game, right? He's putting forward players on. It nearly worked for him, lads. Look, it did nearly work. On that moment, Adrian comes out and your man goes to chip it. You're going, oh shit! It's nearly worked because the two centre forwards have dragged the two centre halves in. and Adrian's just come aimlessly for a ball he shouldn't be come for because they're two centre halves. But there's one bit of credit I have to give Reece Williams, lads. Did you see that moment when the ball comes down and he's two players around him? He flicks it by them and he basically just pummels it 40 yards. Like, that's experience. That is a brilliant bit of centre half play from a kid, especially in the game of intensity or whatever you want to call it, because we're 1-0 up and
the biggest game of his career.
100%, bang on, and he's 100%, and he's done that, and you're going to yourself, Jesus, if that's Van Dijk doing that in a game of that ilk, you're going brilliant centre half play. So a lot of credit. It's a little moment, but it's a big win for him in his mind, and I'm sure the analysts or whoever monitors his game is going to go, fair play to kid out. You've done a good job on that one. But listen, he's gone for it, Keith. He's tried to go for it. He's against a Liverpool side. He's tried to catch. He's thinking he's going to catch us out, putting two direct forwards on. It's not worked for him. And then Klopp gets smart and puts Williams on to shore it up. Very surprised, lads, with Klopp's 3 substitutions, if I'm honest with you, because he's usually a 70-minute man, as we've often complained about. So listen, it's all worked out right for us. Ten Hag, gets put back in his box as an up-and-coming coach because he's been outfoxed by Klopp. Yeah.
And, I suppose ultimately it all comes down, it's the first game of the Champions League. You want to get off to a winning start, and like that, Ajax at home wouldn't have wanted to anything less than even a draw, is in your home games. You don't want that. You need to win your home game. So it's, in some ways I can understand, right, taking the risk and going for it a little bit, but it just seemed very naive tactically. And a lot of people in the chat are saying, who rates him? Why is he so rated? Bayern Munich were going for him for their new coach. A lot of clubs were trying to get him out of Ajax. He is highly rated. He's highly thought of.
It's the sort of thing. It's the sort of thing you just, when you've no ideas, that's what you do. Let me see. Michael Ramsey's back from last night. He said, "Did overrated Jones play tonight? Because I saw LFC was playing for the first half." He played the first half, Michael. And I've already said.
I think Michael wants to check some of his last night's messages, and I think he was wrong on quite a few of them. So I think he should.
All right. Well, listen, he's throwing it in there, and he did play. And I'm being honest with you. I thought he was poor. I've said it. So, but having said that, he's young. He'll get back in, and he'll improve as it goes on.
He was, but you know what? It's a good learning experience for him and for Reece Williams. To play a Champions League game, and while it didn't work for Jones tonight, he can probably look and say he wasn't the worst player. You know what I mean? And he can say, right, for the sake of the system, he probably was the one that had to come off to leave Milner's experience in there. But he didn't embarrass himself, by any means. And it's good. And you're playing against an Ajax team that they've no problems putting an 18-year-old in there from their youth team.
Super Tiger says, guys, we need to acknowledge that we gave a Champions League start in the first game to an academy graduate and also minutes to a young academy centre-back, all in an away game whilst keeping a clean sheet and winning. I think that's a great
Brian Kerr touched on that as well, didn't he? Towards the end of the game.
That has legs.
You should tweet that, Super Tiger. That has legs, sorry, can I just, before we go on, I know we want to do a bit more before we go, but can I just, I wrote this down because I didn't want to forget it. Ant Dicko, right? He puts a comment in there a minute ago, and by the way, the comments are brilliant tonight. I'm so distracted reading them. The conversation is brilliant. We're trying to get as many of them up on the screen as we can. But Ant Dicko says, did anybody notice when Adrian got lobbed and he pretended to kick the ball? Now, I didn't see this at the time, right? But I didn't see it at the time. I seen it, at half time when they're showing the little clips, right? But now listen, this is me having a go at him. It's just a funny moment, right? But he gets lobbed, and when it goes over his head, first of all, the attempt to make himself look big, I thought was brilliant. But when it goes over him, he turns and he mimics hooking the ball off the line while he's standing up, and Fabinho does it, right? And then, just to annoy Grizz, he's put out a most amazing tweet, Adrian, in the last couple of minutes, right? So it's basically a picture. It's basically a picture of him saving from Quincy Promes, and it says, "Great." It's something along the lines of "Great win tonight. And not a minute after this save, we go ahead and win. I'm so proud of me team. And you know what?
What a fella!
What a fella! And if it's
hero.
if it's annoying Grizz this much, I am absolutely all for it. I think we should never rush Alisson back. He says, "I love my job, especially when a minute after this, and it's a picture of him saving point blank from Quincy Promise.
The group is on fire there, Gav, and even Andy has written something bad in. So
he says, "We score. Very proud of my team and very important 3 points. Really good Champions League start, and I know Grizz is fucking fuming."
He's a parody. He's a fucking parody.
He's Freewood says he's a comedian. Flash Gordon says I'll have to go look. Go and have a look. And when your man lobs him, he half attempts to jump, but when he turns towards the goal, you can actually see him pretending to kick the ball a hooker off the line. It's fucking brilliant.
So are we giving Adrian the credit with the hook on the line? Fabinho channeled his
through osmosis.
I think that could be it.
Yeah.
But you know what? He's. Did you see the picture of him at West Ham when he went to grab the ball and he grabbed the forward's head? Like he's unreal. He's unreal. I love him. I'm a big fan.
I'm
Maybe not of him in goal. I wouldn't mind him moving on and doing it somewhere else. But I love how he winds Grizz up so much. But look, back to the football. And before we move on, we've got over 500 people watching us tonight, which is great. And we appreciate, everyone watching and supporting us. We love it. We enjoy doing this. But we do sort of rely on, if you can hit the like button. There's 175 people have hit like, which is great. Thank you very much. But if you are watching and you like what we do, just hit that like button.
It's not enough. It's not enough.
Can I just say as well, we're about 80 subscribers from 6,000. So if you're watching and you're not subscribed, please hit the button, get us to 6,000, and we'll be forever grateful.
Yeah, it is. It helps us a lot. You know what I mean? It helps the show and the channel to grow by all the likes. You mightn't think about it, really does. We hate begging for likes and asking, but it's it's part and parcel of the gig, unfortunately. So we get off.
Adrian's in the chat. He says, "Oh my God, I feel attacked." Don't be worrying, Adrian. That's only Grizz, and it's upsetting Grizz, which makes it great.
Yeah, that's it. We're big fans of you, big fans of you. Just maybe somewhere else. I like West Ham Adrian or Real Betis Adrian.
A couple of more likes and I'm blocking Adrian.
On what, YouTube?
Barry Devon, says, "What's the 6,000 challenge, Gav?" Well, the 5,000 challenge still hasn't been done. It's doing me head in, but I have David Lennon in the chat there. We've brought him on board because he plays golf as well. Although it's been announced that golf courses are closed in Ireland for 6 weeks, which I'm not happy about. But between me and David, we're going to try at some stage to sort this out. We promise. The 6,000 challenge, we don't know. Are we giving something away at 6,000? Probably are, yeah. But we're going to make it a little bit easier for us. Do you know what I did get? Lads? I got this putting mat that you put in the house, right? Now, it's about 12 feet long. Yeah, but I was thinking of doing something, like where you have to hit it off something to hit something else and knock something over. And then if, all this putting challenges on YouTube.
Your challenge is so fucking hard.
Yeah, I'm thinking of doing something like that. And then ask someone else to do it about 4 weeks later. Yeah. But no, just get us to 6,000 and we sort it out between us all, right?
Yeah, we get something good, I'm sure. We get something good. So yeah, that's all the admin, the housekeeping bit done. So, Gar, I'll come to you. We get a win. It's the most important thing is to come out of that with a win. Atalanta get a win as well tonight. Now, I know you're an Atalanta fan. You've been saying it for a long time. A few people in our group have been saying it. A couple of years are on here tonight. And are they the threat, or are we reading too much into a 4-0 win against Midtjylland? Or do you think is tonight's game, what I'm trying to say, is tonight's game the big one out of the way, or is Atalanta the big one?
No, I think Atalanta's the big one because they'll be more of an attacking threat to us, Keith. They're like Newcastle of old. We scored 2. They want to score. They're free scoring. They've got a good attacking style as well. They can be quite poxy at the back at times, in fairness to them. But no, lads, this is not a good Ajax side. Their better side is obviously another Ajax transition, which they do every few years. It's not a good Ajax side. The younger players out of this side, Gravenberch, etc. Sure, we'll all move on in a couple of years. But as you say, you're bringing on Huntelaar. Promes has bounced around leagues in Europe. He's been in Russia, hasn't he, or somewhere for a
Russia
while
for
as well. Onana's wanted out there for a couple of seasons, and they want big money on him as well. So even at that, he's not great. But to me, to be honest with you, Atalanta are a threat. I don't see any reason why we don't, come through this group at the top of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Grizz, another Atalanta advocate. Are you worried about them, or do you think Liverpool, let's concentrate on our own business and see what happens from there?
Very much so. Very much so. Atalanta are exciting to watch. Atalanta are, as Gar says, very gung-ho, but we like teams that are gung-ho, guys. We know this. We love teams that are gung-ho. We love brave teams. Get brave with us. Go on. Alice, we've got Alison in the chat now. Yeah, this is fun.
There you go.
Alison Becker, yeah. Atalanta will be a magnificent game to watch, guys. I mean, I'm not worried. I'm looking forward to it. It's exciting. It's one of those games that, Champions Leagues are made for, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? To test yourselves against other attacking teams from around Europe, to see, how styles match up. Yeah, we claim to have the fast, the powerful league of the Premier League. Well, they play a very fast, powerful brand of football mixed with a lot of skill. A little Papu Gomez in there.
He's a great player.
Oh yeah, he's a fantastic little player. But we've got a few dynamites in our lineup as well. So
what's his name? Papu Gomez.
Papu.
Alejandro Gomez, Argentinian. He's only about 5 foot. Brilliant, number 10.
What age is he?
He's about 32.
For fuck's sake, stop with it.
I know, he's good.
He's not.
No.
Who's he played for?
No, he's
32.
Who's he played for?
He plays for Atalanta.
Yeah, but who has he played for?
He played for, I'll give you his list. So he started off at Arsenal de Sarandi, went to San Lorenzo, then went to Catania, and then went to a Russian outfit somewhere. I don't know the name, and I can't think of them off the top of my head.
Give it all.
This guy, Argentinian number 10, who's like a small little fella.
I'll send you YouTube clips, and then you'll.
I want to see the clips. He's brilliant.
No, he's dead. He's dead.
32 and he's hanging around Argentina and Russia. We just have a day off.
Yeah.
Gav, a player we nearly signed under the Brodge, Luis Muria.
Yeah.
Luis Suarez marked 2.
They've got
Joseph Bilic came back as well.
Yeah. Good team. But listen,
hold on, I don't want to go through the whole team. I'm just saying, you're going on about some fella called Papu Gomez. Never heard of him, and he's fucking hanging around Argentina and Russia. He's going on as if he's fucking Pele.
Before we move on, Rajiv has corrected me. He played for Kharkiv in the Ukraine, so it wasn't Russia. Metalist Kharkiv in Ukraine.
Great
so
team.
I stand corrected. Apologies.
Great team. Plastic pitch. Great team. The old Luton. But yeah,
he might as well have been on a skate to victory, for fuck's sake. Papu Gomez.
You'll change your mind.
He dug the tunnel, Gav.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've definitely got the firepower to beat them. It'll be a brilliant game. We play them at home first, right?
Papa John's cousin.
This fella is good. He's good, and
we go away to them first.
We go away to them first.
Yeah,
get that out of the way then. Yeah, great.
Midtjylland at home. Away in. They're playing in the home ground now, aren't they? Yeah, they're back in Bergamo. I think.
I'm sure they're back here.
You may see the importance of the win today. It's not stressed enough, I don't think, because we need to get this group wrapped up as quick as possible, especially with the injuries, sort of coming around for us and the players. We've got to wrap them up in cotton wool. So I ideally would like to have the last 2-3 games as dead rubbers. Do you know what I mean? Where we can sort of, protect the most important players, in those games. So getting a away win at Ajax is a magnificent start, guys. It's an absolute magnificent start, honestly.
100%.
Yeah, really is.
Yeah.
So before we wrap up then, lads, who have we got the weekend? Sheffield United. Late kick-off. Do you see... Right, before we move on to that, I'm going to come to you off as a man of the match. Right, so, Gav, I'll come to you first. Who do you feel was man of the match and why?
If you'd have played the whole game, I would have given it to Mane, but Andy Robertson for me.
Okay.
While the right hand side wasn't really functioning, the left hand side was brilliant, and I thought he was excellent defensively all night. Neres is not a bad player, but he broke Neres' spirit within about 25 minutes, and it actually reminded me of the time United came to Anfield under Mourinho. And Mourinho's comments afterwards was, look how Robertson just goes up and down and up and down. And you could see it 25 minutes in. I think Robertson gets it left back-ish position and just goes inside. He's about 20 yards from Neres. He just comes inside and starts running, and Neres just goes, I'm not fucking chasing that.
He stopped, didn't he? He just stopped.
Yeah. So I for me, it's Andy Robertson. Even late in the game, he was bursting down the left wing. He was getting crosses in. He was winning corners. He didn't miss a tackle all night. I thought he was really, really, really good.
Yeah, true. Grizz, what about you?
So tough to decide between Robbo, Matip, Gomez. Choose any one. I choose one. Sorry, Fabinho.
You want
was last week.
Yeah, Fabinho, Gomez, Robbo. I'm going to go with Gomez, the youngest out of the three, the most criticised of the three in the recent months. So slightly under pressure. He had that sort of absolute nightmare of seeing Adrian's face in the first 30 seconds in front of him when he's, playing facing the wrong way. So I think the way he composed himself after that and grew into the game, I thought Gomez, but it could easily have been Fabinho and Robbo.
Yeah. And Gar, what about you?
Yeah, Fabinho for me. Great. I would have gone with Grizz and Gomez, especially after all the the media stuff that's gone on the last few days, and a lot of criticism from ex-pros has gone his way as well for his lack of form. And but now 100%, I'm going to go with Fabinho. Try and be different. It's just the guy just looked at ease again at centre half. He can spray a pass. He doesn't overcomplicate things. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, love that, Rajiv.
Yeah.
Grizz to dress up as Adrian for Halloween is a suggestion here, Grizz.
No, bollocks to that, mate.
Watch our language. It was bad on Sunday.
Yeah.
You need to
every time you mention his name, it's going to be an expletive after that. So
okay.
Well, there you
don't
go.
mention his name.
Sorry, I was going to go on and ask you about predictions for players that can force their way in, but you'll deal with this the weekend game, I'm sure, on Friday. So we won't. We'll leave it there. I think for tonight, I've kept you all late enough. So Gav, thank you very much for joining us tonight on the other side of the hot seat.
Absolute pleasure, Keith. Thanks a million.
Great, Grizz. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, mate. Enjoyed that today. Really enjoyed the game, the chat, vibes, and we needed a bit of a positive boost, and I think that performance in that second half gave us positive boost. It did me as well. I'm very energized.
Yeah, good stuff. And Gar, pleasure to have you as well tonight.
Thanks, kiddo. Thanks, Pat. Thanks, lads. Great to be on with Grizz again. Really.
Always a pleasure, Gar. Football man.
Yeah. Football man.
If you need this autograph, sure you can fax it to you, Gar.
Yeah.
Come here. Did you not see he's highlighting in Neighbours now, Gav? No.
No.
What did you see this one?
Stay
there. Don't go anywhere yet.
In Neighbours, as in the channel, as in the Australian soap.
Grizzo in the Australian soap Neighbours.
Oh wow!
Must be a repeat, was it? Must have been an early day.
Listen, it must have been before he grew that moustache. That must have been recorded a couple of months ago.
After that, do they?
Catch me in a suit. Fucking hell.
What was the fella's name? I can't remember a lot of names from Neighbours, but let's try. Harold Bishop.
Harold Bishop and John Mangle.
John Mangle. There was a girl in it. She was a mechanic.
Just naming random.
No, not Kylie Minogue. No, it wasn't
Jason.
Kylie Minogue. No,
Annalise.
Just going back a few years ago, there was a girl in it, and she was a mechanic.
Madge.
Madge was about 80. You're joking me. You couldn't be going around fixing cars.
She's right? She's right. I was right with Madge though, yeah?
Yeah, Madge fixed the mobility scooters.
Yeah. No, this
Jeez, you're going back now.
This girl in it, and of course Holly Valance was in it. Stephanie Ali Kansas. Yeah, I like her.
She was a mechanic.
I liked her. Yeah, Luke Carpenter, of course.
Luke Carpenter, yeah.
Yeah, he's the grey-haired fella, isn't he?
Great times.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Kylie Minogue,
Comment there, Tommy. I'm going to put it on the screen, but we are not going to read it out. Okay, we are not going to read it out.
What a way to end it!
What a way to end it. What would you prefer, actually, home or away, or neighbours?
I'd watch Neighbours now quicker than Home and Away. Home and
Yeah.
Away has gone a bit mad. It's a lot of gangs in there. You don't want that from your Australian daytime soaps. You want good, wholesome in the square or the whatever it's called. What
Avi
was
says.
Neighbours?
Avi says. Dr. Kennedy. He's a big Liverpool fan.
Dr. Carr
Yeah,
Kennedy,
Dr.
yeah,
Carr
correct.
Kennedy.
Big Liverpool fan. Yeah, big Liverpool fan.
Correct, yeah.
So, Grizz, home and away or neighbours?
Neighbours.
Neighbours. Gar?
Yeah, definitely.
I'm gonna go with home and away. It's got
Yeah,
that
me
sort of
too.
gangs of London thing about it at the moment.
Yeah.
That the love hate thing going on as well. Yeah, really enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Bit
I
of-
haven't
bit of
watched.
grit.
I haven't watched either of them in years and years and years. But Natalie and Bruglia, of course, what a shout by
Yeah,
Kieran
yeah.
Jervis.
There's a lot of them in, wasn't there?
Holly Valance was in that. Home and away was great.
was busy
Pippa
watching Countdown.
was the one, wasn't she?
Clipper from Home and Away.
Oh,
around
of
the
course you were.
caravan park.
Yeah. You were busy
What was
watching
he?
Countdown for Carol Vorderman, yeah.
Yeah, I was busy watching that. I mean, I used to miss the odd Neighbours home because
One of the funniest things I've ever heard when you said, I like a strong, intelligent woman. To like myself. It's one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I must go back and find that. It was one of the best podcasts we've ever done.
hilarious.
Al Stewart. I'm home and away, thanks.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you don't have to be one or the. You know, we won't judge each other because me and Grizz like the good one and used to just follow the skin into Home and Away. But however, we leave it there, lads. This has been our midweek fix. We've been the LFC Daytrippers, and we'll bid you all good night.